All right, good morning. Today is the 23rd. Gonna go over Bitcoin first. Dude, you're a fucking rock star. Good work. You are the man. All right, so walk through Bitcoin, probably go over Solana as well. Overall, hasn't done much since my last update. Just kind of, again, I'll just recap everything here. So we have a 2.5 month, right around here, let's just say. 2.5 month composite. So November up to current date, basically. Obviously, we did get a clean break above time and space, failed at this gap, accepted back inside, expecting the traversal value. We have mean reverted, found support at previous year, previous quarter value, as well as the POC. And we have shifted above this 17-day composite. Zoom in here a bit. A few failed attempts yesterday. We got this kind of, Bart Simpson pattern, trying to reaccept into this older 5-day, confluent with pulling back and testing the 8-week composite high. And the 8-week and the 2.5 month POC are the same, so they've both mean reverted at this point. So the question is, do we shift bullish and at least tag this area and then see the full traversal down? Do we just roll over and die? Or do we potentially run higher from here? We formed 3 days of value throughout here, finding support at weekly val and previous month of VWAP. So we are just rotational within value right now. Kind of poor highs above the range here. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So I think even if we do get a break above the 8-week, we're still technically, rotational within the 2.5 month, which is right here. So it's very likely that we could see the full traversal up to previous week VWAP, monthly value area high kind of area. Given, we'd see acceptance into monthly value, previous week value. So you'd be mean reverting previous week value and traversing developing month value. If you saw this whole move up, so I mean, really, price could come up, tag this kind of previous week naked point of control, maybe even the 365-day VWAP isn't there. Okay, I'm tripping. It's just this time frame. Okay, we could come up and tag the POC and then break under the 2.5 month again, and then that might be the full move down. It really just depends. So you kind of just play it level to level and see where things are clear and see where things aren't clear. I'll just look at VWAP quickly, and then I'll burn through Sol. I'll make this video pretty quick because there's no reason to really make it any longer than it needs to be. All right. So previous year val held the support at the weekly low right now at that mean reversion. I already talked about that. Previous quarter val, same thing basically. They're overlapping. Monthly value and previous month value are relatively important right now, I would say. We are still imbalanced down on developing month. It's held this pretty significant resistance up to this point. We did see acceptance inside of previous month value here. Didn't traverse. Not to say that we have to do that because we definitely do not. And it's kind of fighting support at previous month VWAP. So if we do get a break from the composite there, I would expect that, if we do, again, being that we haven't tagged previous month value area low confluent with these lows down here and then other confluence, the 2.5 month composite lows down here, I think it's possible that we do see acceptance into here. Acceptance into developing month. Let me rephrase that. Acceptance into developing month, and then this is really just a retest of previous month value area high, which is there's lots of confluence there, and then that's the full traversal down, and there's enough overlapping levels there for that to make sense. And of course, if that's wrong and we do break above here and break above there, then I think like I said, the traversal up to developing month value high, as well as the 2.5 month value area high is right here. So that's that. Weekly value, I think we're just rotational in it right now. So yeah, rotational in the lower half of developing week value, capping upside against the VWAP, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times basically. But value area low is also holding as support. So the question is, do we fall off or do we attempt to traverse value? Which is again confluent with the 8-week value high and the older 5-day value high. So a lot of confluence there. So basically, I'll just punch back to that quickly. It's this level here. So weekly value high, previous month value high. So the question is, do we rotate to here and then break down from the 8-week? Do we just roll over and die right now, which is also possible? No trade at that point. Or do we break above here and see a bigger rotation up to the 2-month value high, which I think we'd probably deviate it, tag the overlapping VWAP levels in this POC, and then the breakdown from there. So, ideal short would be here. I'll definitely look to take a short here. I am still on the long from down here, which, if we do come up here, I'm going to try and play another long from this level. But in case we do actually break and hold above this level and I go short and it stops or whatever, I'll hold the long to hedge that loss as well, which it wouldn't override the win down here by any means, but it's still a good way to manage a trade. And of course, if we spend enough time and space above here, break above here, I would probably look to get bullish again above the 14-week, but that's just too anticipatory right now, I would say. So quickly go through trades. I'll do a full write-up today, I think, but as of right now, I think for trades, I would play the breakout of the 3-day here, which is also a return of this 5-day, as well as finally, breaking upside against weekly VWAP. And then, you kind of have the rolling VWAP overlap here between the 30-day and the 7-day. What's up, Shada? And then, yeah, like I said, there's overlap here, this imbalance. So I would look to ideally play short from here. Depending on the reaction is there, I might add at both of these areas. It just depends how it sets up. If not, I'll definitely take a position here nonetheless, as well as if that's thin enough that we're breaking down, I would short here as well. So that's how I play shorts there. I'd be a little more reluctant to try and play a breakout long of there, being I would already have one open from here, but potential, if it sets up nicely, it's got, I'd have to work with this imbalance at that point. So it might set up a little bit weirder, but just depends how price action and stuff sets up. I'd be more inclined to short from here, but we'll see. Yeah, and any shorts somewhere around here, I think we deviate probably the 2.5-month value high into the POC and then play that breakdown lower. So that's what I'm anticipating right now. Could you go over to NQ? Or yeah, I can do NQ. And then I'll touch on SOL really quickly here. I think SOL is kind of lagging behind. If you look at it right now, this SOL BTC chart's pretty weak. Excuse me, relative to Bitcoin. But I do think when the majors kind of start to roll over, look at, yeah, BTC I think still has some time to move. But I think when Bitcoin and Solana start to roll over and die, if they do, I think they're all going to do it at once. And Bitcoin doesn't look awful right now. As long as we hold weekly val, previous month VWAP kind of area in this 3-day val, I think it's okay to traverse weekly value in previous month. So that's what I think. Solana right now, I guess it just depends how long Bitcoin, is going to fuck around here, whether we roll over and die, like I said, or move up. Solana, I have a few areas. Again, we're just rotational in this 3-day composite right now. We've also accepted back inside of this 3-week. Mean reverted the POC. Had a decent bounce, but failed to really establish any acceptance higher. So if we do stay rotational, I will look to, there's enough VWAP overlap here. You have, I can't even see what that says. Weekly, previous month VWAP and weekly VWAP, I think, are there. And monthly vals coming down as well. So you have a decent bit of overlap in this area, NPOC, that kind of stuff, value high. So if we stay rotational on Solana, I'll look to play that, honestly, probably the entire breakdown down to 3-week lows. Any decent short I can get in on Solana, I think, is safe. I'll try and play it all the way down to 122, I believe. If we do get a break out of the range again, previous year val, this kind of NPOC here, 7-day, 30-day, 786, and then this 4-week POC. Well, actually now it's just a high volume node, but either way, I would, it's still a level that I would look to trade from. If we do get a squeeze high enough up to here and tag the POC in this imbalance, I'd probably take that too. But I don't think that's likely for right now. So that's Solana. Yeah, look at NAS right now. I don't even know where it is in a watch list. Yeah, so really similar. More often than not, they're pretty similar. So we have, what, a 3-day composite here, let's say. 2-day? So yeah, 2-day here, which is, I don't know what this one is. Holy shit. So yeah, it looks pretty similar to Bitcoin right now, I would say. I would just merge those for now. Let me just zoom out a little bit and see. I mean, kind of just compressing really flat rolling VWAP here. So I mean, it certainly looks like it's going to be range bound right now. Let me look. The fuck is it? Okay. Capped upside, previous quarter value area high. Testing that level. Could see traversal down to these lows maybe. Again, that's just off quarterly. Let's look at monthly. Rotational inside of monthly value. And rotational in the upper half of previous month value, looks like. So pretty rotational. Weekly, imbalanced up on weekly, I guess. Right now, anyway. That's certainly a target to look for. You have, what, how many sets of highs there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of highs. And previous month VWAP, so that would be a really good upside target, I would say, if you're going to long. I would definitely keep that area in mind for sure. Super rotational right now, though, on NAS, I would say. Let me just zoom out and get a better view. I just chart it on a higher time frame usually, just to see the correlation with Bitcoin and whatnot. But yeah, rotational in this multi-month composite now, I guess it is, back from October, really. Really just rotational at this point. Kind of compressing against the POC, I would say. That's where we're at, yeah. So we just kind of formed 2 days of balance at the POC. Where were those highs? Oh, that's range highs. Okay. Okay, so what is this one? Okay. Let me just go down a lower time frame. I would say, again, it's rotational with these range highs being a really good target. I would say right now, I would probably try and play a rotational long up to the highs is how I would play right now. Right, sets of highs here. Enough. There's quite a bit of overlap here, so you can definitely tag or deviate these levels. And then from there, you got to take into account the bigger composite here, which would be the multi-month as well as this multi-week one here. Right, so you're technically rotational. Just go like this. Yeah. So you're rotational inside of this composite here and really this one too, which isn't as important, right, with these highs. So, I mean, anywhere in here would have made sense. If you can get, I guess it just depends on the reaction. It's kind of breaking down right now. I wouldn't put a ton of emphasis on trading with this one, but previous month VWAP and the rolling VWAP overlap here in these lows, maybe something like this is what I would try and play up to, I mean, at least these highs. I guess it's the same thing. And then at that point, you got to understand that we're still, I mean, you're still rotational in this value too. So you'd assume, even though you're breaking from this one, you're still rotational in the larger one, which is much more important than this kind of shitty 2-day composite. Like this one's obviously more important to work with. So I would even be looking for shorts here. So let me half-ass draw this up again. I don't really trade it anymore. I just chart it on a higher time frame usually. But I would say something like this. Again, I don't know. It just depends how this sets up. I wouldn't blindly take these, but I would say, yeah, if you get anywhere around here, I would say if you get a sweep here, I would look to go long. And I would target, I mean, at least these highs. Let me just mark these. Something like this. I would target those highs. And knowing, like I said, you are rotational in the larger one, I would come for like this kind of level here, like this high volume kind of like imbalance here in the order block. I would, expect something like that, and then maybe try and play the rotation back down again. It's probably how I would play that. I mean, you could anticipate a breakout and whatnot, but the condition is obviously rotational in this composite as well as the larger one. So to just assume that it's going to break out doesn't really make sense. It breaks out once it breaks out. So if it puts enough time and space above, then maybe you could try and play a breakout long up to this like NPOC up here or something. But that's how I would play it. I would just play the rotations as much as you can, and then with the rotations, I mean, you could. I mean, like I said, you could probably look for shorts up here too. I would expect that it would probably squeeze a bit higher up into here, and then I would try and play the short once it cleans these highs. And then depending on the reaction, I mean, you could probably play a short back into this composite too. And if you're on I guess if you're on a little bit of a lower time frame, I mean, your ideal play would be down here, in my opinion. Kind of have these equal lows down here. Maybe if it continues higher and you get a pullback into monthly VWAP, something like that, and then target the highs. Like if this structurally stays intact here, like this kind of structure, and then you'd get in long there. Something like that is what I would do. But the long down here off the sweep, I would say makes a lot of sense. And then the breakdown once you clean up the highs, something like that. All right. How long was this? 16 minutes. All right, it's not that bad. I think that's pretty much it. What's gold doing? Probably nothing interesting. Silver's performing well. Wow, it's up 3%. Did tag 100? No, not yet. Yeah, no worries, Shadow. Glad to help you out. That's definitely, yeah. I like that rotational sweep. It looks pretty good, I would say. I like this move for sure. Get a bit of overlap there. I would definitely try and play that. This one, I think you could probably play too. Ideally, you would have tried to get in a little bit lower, but you know, structurally, if it makes sense and makes sense for you to take that trade, I think you could do that. I guess there's not a lot of people in here right now. Anybody want me to go over anything else while I'm here? I'll do a full write-up for Bitcoin, I think, but I don't know if we even do anything for the rest of the day. You know, we could just, like, I think it's very possible in the longer term that we find a top here. You know, we could just build out even more value here. I mean, historically, I forgot that I was going to mention this. If you look at February historically, let's just go to, I guess, the daily. Where's February here? Yeah, so if you look at February historically, I mean, there's your month of February. Nothing but balance. Go back even further, I think you'll find the same thing. February is what here? Same thing, right? There's February. Nothing but range. February, nothing but range. Same thing here. There. Yeah, most of February range bound. So, I don't know. I don't expect much. Just play what we can. And I guess, is there anything worth looking at in a shorter time frame on Bitcoin? No, not really. If you were to, I guess, bid this range, you would have longed here or here, but I don't want to take that, to be honest. Not really something I would take. I'm happy to play the rotations of this, but nothing really interested me. Or you would have shorted there, maybe. But I don't know. I like playing rotations when I have other confluence there. So, I mean, if you have like a sweep of, you know, you play an SFP or there's enough VWAP overlap or, you know, a fib and that kind of stuff, that's where you can incorporate more outside confluence besides just using value and stuff. So it just depends. But all right, I think I'll wrap it up here. If anybody has any questions, ask them now. If not, you can ask a Discord or whatever. But yeah, I think that's probably a week. Only took one position. Would have had more, but I just had a fucked up week dealing with other stuff. So would have had I think 2 or 3 continuation shorts would have been probably 15, 20 hour week, something like that. But it wasn't on my PC. So all right, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Have a good weekend, everybody.